Hey, good evening. Once again, this is Chris Carroll, the instructor for Humanities 115. I'm ready to jump into week one, and I hope you are as well. So, by the time that you've watched week one video, hopefully you've paid attention to the welcome video and you've reviewed the syllabus and completed the enrollment verification quiz. Those are essential before we start with our focus for this week, which is the beginning of understanding critical thinking. So as we start, a couple of things that you need to kind of be aware of. And the first thing is I've created this video right here, which is kind of an introduction to what critical thinking is. And in discussing that, I want you to kind of pay attention to that video. But what I also want you to see is just a couple of thoughts, and that is, what is the importance of critical thinking? Experts. I was listening coming down the road today, and I heard two experts who were talking about a particular topic, and both experts considered themselves to be knowledgeable as well as right about the topic they were discussing. The problem is that both of these experts disagreed with one another. And so within that particular problem, somebody had to be wrong, somebody had to be right, or, there was a mixture of it. And so the problem is that we need to be able to maneuver through all of these quote experts. If you have a Facebook account, social media, Snap, Insta, Twitter, you're kind of considered an expert, right? Because you're posting all of this stuff to millions of people to view. And a lot of times our thinking is based on persuasion. We vote Republican because grandma voted Republican. We vote Democrat because that's what's always been done in our house. We just kind of it's ingrained within us, and we don't really spend time analyzing, well, why is it that I'm voting Republican or I'm voting Democrat, or why is it that I do this or I believe in this particular thing? So we need to understand that the world is noisy, it's confusing, and our voice needs to be heard, but our voice also needs to be discovered. We ultimately, in this thing, we're the ones who make our own decisions as to how we believe about a particular topic. When you're talking about controversial, big ticket items in society today, such as abortion, or equal rights for all people, thinking about the concept or the discussion that's out there now about transgender rights. We need to be able to construct our own decisions as to why we believe what we believe. We listen to the experts, we evaluate what the experts say, but it is up to us to construct our response to those topics, as well as just topics that are affecting us at home. We must rely on how we feel about things, because ultimately we're the ones making the decision. Answers must make sense to us. Answers must come from us. And that is why we have this idea of what critical thinking is. And that's why I want you to pay attention to that video, which will help you to understand that critical thinking allows us to ask critical questions, but also answer critical questions, basically without ticking somebody off. And that we're okay to acknowledge when we're in the wrong, and also when we're in the right, because we can justify it. So as we begin this course this week, here are the assignments that you're going to be doing. The first thing that you're going to do is create a discussion forum. And in this discussion forum, please note that the initial post, which is your post, is due in before Thursday, June the 8th. Discussion forum initial posts are always due on Thursday. Then your replies to your classmates are done on Sunday. So what I want you to do is you're going to read chapter 1. And as you read chapter 1, it's going to talk about some of the things that I just talked about, but then it's going to look at two different ways that we analyze information. This idea of whether we are going to be panning for gold, Is that the process that we're going to do? Or if we come back to it, the other thing that we start looking at is what's known as a sponge that we absorb. And I want you to kind of figure, how do you do this? Do you just kind of soak it all in and you really don't challenge it, question it, but you just kind of like take it in and it just kind of becomes you? Because the more you know, the better informed you are. That's kind of the sponge approach that's to it. However, the panning for gold approach basically says, I need to ask some questions. I need more information. I've got to see whether I can really truly trust that which I'm reading, studying, hearing, or whatever it is. And you're involved in your knowledge finding of facts. You're involved in seeking solutions or understanding what it is that you are to be doing. So, as you answer these questions, please note for this forum, you will always find the words that are minimum. And when I say minimum, that's exactly what I mean. If you just try to get 400 words, that's minimum. Just remember, 400 words minimum could result in a minimum grade. You want to answer the question and not be focused on what the word count is. And I promise you, if you'll just type, answer the question, and just go with it, you will blow past 400 words and you didn't even know you did it. It's just a matter of focusing on the question and not on the amount of words that you have left or that you've already written. For your replies, each one, you're doing two. They're a minimum of 75 words each. So you're doing two replies. One reply, 75 words. Another reply, 75 words. And you want to carry the conversation forward. Don't just say, Jane, you did a great job with your post. Enjoyed reading it. You want to explain, what did you enjoy? What did you question? Do you have a different take, different approach? Those are replies that help push the conversation, push the narrative forward. So that's the first assignment that you need to do. The other assignment that you're doing this week is a research project proposal. So as we go throughout the semester, you're going to be doing a research project, and your research project is something that you're interested in studying for your respective community. So let's say that there's a topic of concern, that there's something that you're just like, man, I'm like really into this, and I want to use my painting for gold approach to try to find a solution, or to try to find, the way I feel about a particular thing. It could be one of the issues that I mentioned. It could be equal pay for men and women. It could be discrimination. It could be something in the medical field. I mean, I've given you some topics, and I'll talk a little bit about those topics in just a minute. But what you're doing is throughout the semester. So you see June 11th, and then July 9th, and then July 23rd is when the final project is due. And your final project ultimately is a 1,500 word essay. That pretty much explains your reasoning about particular things. So what you're doing this week, due by June the 11th, and this course starts with a few extra days, so you've got extra days than you normally would have in a particular week. But for this, you're doing part one, the research project proposal, where you're going to tell me, hey, this is what I want to study about. This is what I want to learn more about that's affecting our society. It could be your neighborhood, your community, it could be the state, it could be the world. And this is what I want to focus on understanding and seeing if my perspective changes or if my perspective stays the same. You're going to have to find some sources on it. That's part of the research process. But for this project this week, you're just telling me what you're going to write about and why. I've given you a few example topics. Please, you're not limited to these. You can expand on whatever it is that you are interested in. Second Amendment, gun rights, police brutality, education. Should students be viewed by their test scores instead of how they do overall in a class? School start times. You could do medical, anything related to medical. You could do that, but except for You cannot do anything COVID. Sorry, but I'm just done with COVID. So anything else you can do, but please, 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 we're not going to do anything with COVID. So find something you want to talk about. You want to research. You want to study. It's your choice, right? You get that opportunity, and then this is what you're doing. You're going to present your issue, why you're studying it, why is it important to you, and what you're hoping to understand. Um, it's a minimum of 250 words. Okay. So hopefully that will help give you some insight what you're doing. You're only doing part one. That's it. Just part one for your research project this week. And all the instructions are found right here. Like I said, these are not the topics that you have to focus on. It can be anything. If it's a topic that I think, I'm not really buying it, feeling it, don't think it might be a good topic for you, we'll talk it through. I'll kind of come back to you and say, hey, let's look at maybe doing this or something else. So that's the assignments for this week. I look forward to reviewing your responses. As always, reach out to me if you have any questions. This is going to be a great class. So allow yourself to be willing to explore different things. Open up your eyes and go pan for some gold. Hope you have a good week.